My name is Sean Cornett, National Consultant, coming to you here from St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to evaluate our opportunity. That being said, I'm going to not waste any further time and introduce our special guest, who many would never guess, especially from how you'll see him here this evening. But he used to have a low rider, like a slam down Mazda with gold wire rims. But this individual has gone on to do amazing things in the business world. He's won multiple five-star trips. He's a Common Club member. There's a number of other recognitions, fast track as well. This individual's lighting it up. He's got a great team going over in Japan as well. That's where I connected up with him most recently in person. And we're just extremely excited to have Executive Consultant Doug Parker with us here this evening. So Doug, let me switch over to you and make sure you're coming in. Can you hear me, or are you with us, Doug?
I can hear you. Konnichiwa. Arigatou gozaimasu. How are you?
Konnichiwa. The floor is yours. Take it away.
The reality is, people are very busy. And really what I want to start off is telling you a story about just a young man, a good old East Texas boy that grew up and, never really had much, to be quite honest with you. I've never been to college a day in my life. I never had much of anything. Financial, means were not something in our family that were a big deal, but, we never had a situation where we couldn't eat. We never had a situation where we didn't have clothes, but I never had much financially. So when it came to college, I really didn't think that was really even an option for me. I remember when I was 19, by the time I was 20, I had 2 kids. But, something really crazy happened in my life. I had 2 babies. My wife was a full-time student, and you really probably can't tell much of it, but my hand right here, I broke my hand, I had 8 pins put in my hand and in my fingers, and I was driving down the road, and a piece of wood flew through the windshield of my car. And, I was kind of brought up that if you just work hard and you take care of your business and you're kind of an honest guy, everything will kind of work out for you. Well, that's not really how life was working out for me at the time. My hand got pushed through my steering wheel. My whole entire windshield got blown out. And luckily it didn't hit me in the face. I didn't realize that at the time. I was real frustrated, and somebody said, "You're so lucky." And I was like, "What in the world are you talking about? I'm lucky." And they said, "You're lucky it didn't come through a couple more degrees this way, because see, at the roof of my car, I put a 4-inch crease in the roof of my car where it got stuck, and it came through my windshield." And it hit me like a ton of bricks afterwards that I didn't get hit in the face, and it didn't have that type of an impact on me. But as I mentioned, I had 2 babies. I was a sole breadwinner in my family. My wife was a full-time student, and we had to make some tough decisions. Frankly, we had to make decisions like, we had to feed our kids, we had to pay our car payment, and we had to pay our apartment, or we were going to get thrown out, and then everything else had to go by the wayside. And I really thought it was kind of the end of the world for me, and founded a company that since 2003 has done about $65 million in revenue. And it became an Inc. 500 company. And you might be asking yourself, Doug, why in the world are you even telling me about that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because when I was on the Inc. 500 with my company that my wife and I founded, Ambit Energy was #1 fastest growing privately held company in America. And I saw the opportunity, and I saw the residual income opportunity. I thought that's a pretty interesting concept. And so I rushed back to Dallas, and I wrote Jerry Thompson Jr. a letter and just kind of said congratulations on being #1. And we were never that high, but congratulations to him. I thought maybe we'd hook up at some point, go grab some lunch or something. I could learn a thing or two. And then I proceeded to do nothing. And, one of the things I would encourage you to do if you're tuning in right now is to do something. A lot of people don't realize that when they decide they want to think about something, or they decide that they want to put it off, or whatever the case is, you're making a decision one way or another. You're either deciding to go ahead and get on board and jump in and do it right now, or you're deciding to put it on hold, maybe for a season, maybe forever. And, I encourage you to really make a decision today. But let's kind of continue talking. So, what happened is I saw the opportunity. 3 whole years passed, and I did nothing with it. I thought it was an interesting opportunity, but I didn't really do anything with it. And one day somebody comes knocking on my door, and I open my door, and it's one of my employees, and it's a gentleman by the name of James Penny. And James kind of starts telling me about this opportunity, something he's looking at. And I was like, only thing I was thinking was, man, this guy's fixing to quit. I mean, I just knew it. I could see it in his eyes. And he was a good performing employee. And I just didn't think, man, that's not what I want to hear. But as he started talking about it, I said, "Hey, is this Ambit Energy?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Sign me up." He's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, sign me up. I need somebody to be upline for me. I'm familiar with the opportunity. And what I need somebody to do is to help me facilitate some of the signups from some of my customers, because at my credit company, we've got about 40,000 customers, and I thought that would be a good natural fit. You might not, think that credit would have anything to do with electricity and this, that, and the other. But one interesting fact is that every customer that we sign up, we had to get a proof of residence from them. And most people use their utility bill as their proof of residence. Now, long story, a little bit longer. The reality is that we really didn't use many of our customers from our credit business for the energy business. It wound up being too many moving parts. And so we wanted to keep the main thing with the credit business. But ultimately, I jumped in and really jumped in with both feet, full blast, and fast track to regional consultant in like 5 days. And then, ultimately limped my way to senior consultant because I got a little distracted, and then got even a little more distracted. I ran across something the other day and kind of came up with this quote that your excuses only sound good to you. And, the reality is that what I'm fixing to tell you is that I made some excuses. And one of my other favorite quotes is that you can make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. And so when I'm telling you I made some excuses, that means I wasn't making much money in Ambit. And so what I did was, my daughter was getting recruited. She's a collegiate athlete and an All-American, and ultimately was going off to college. And so we went to many schools, and I slow tracked myself to executive. But at the end of 2015, I made a decision that I'm either going to have to get serious about Ambit Energy, or I'm just going to have to put it on the sideline, because I can't be lukewarm about it. I can't have a little bit in or a little bit out. And started doing some research and on myself and on the company and on some of the other leaders on how to get going, and put together a series of interviews. And Sean was nice enough to come on and really tell me some of his secrets. And some of the things were kind of quote unquote like secret sauce, and other things were very simple. It was just hard work and repetition and massive action. But decided to go to work really at the end of 2015. And about 8 months in 2016 was able to get to executive consultant, and then everything changed. And the reality is in this business is you got to put your head down, you got to go to work, and you got to take massive action. So you may have seen some screens, in the presentation that showed income opportunities of $10,000, $11,000, per month. And I didn't learn a lot of Japanese when I was in Japan, but I said a little bit at the beginning. But when I saw this slide in Japan, I figured out what it was quick, and it said maichiki, 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 month after month after month. When I saw that slide of the $11,000 and change month after month in residual income, that was what really piqued my interest, because I told you before, I was a good old East Texas boy that worked really hard. But when I got injured, I was humbled. I really couldn't work. My arm was in a cast for like 3 or 4 months. I really struggled. I mean, there was times where my kids always ate, but there was times where my refrigerator was pretty bare. I was embarrassed a couple times. My mom came up and bought some groceries because she felt sorry for us. And there was a time or two where my mother-in-law did the same thing. And that's not the kind of guy I am. I mean, I've been so poor before that I know what it's like to be pretty dang near destitute. But I made a commitment. I said, God willing, that will never happen to me again, ever. And so for the next almost, 20 years after that, I have grinded it out and worked so dang hard you can't even imagine. But when I stopped working, or if I ever stopped working, the income would stop coming in. And with this Ambit opportunity, it's not that way. Chris Chambliss says that you don't get paid for what you finish, you get paid for what you start. And I had a hard time reconciling that for a while in my mind, but I realized that it's about farming. It's about planting seeds and reaping a harvest later. And some of the seeds you cast, and I'm not trying to get too biblical on you, but they'll get into the soil that's not so good, and they don't do so well, and some of them get stomped out. But some of them, they get cast into fertile soil, and they multiply 30, 60, and 100-fold. So you just got to keep planting seeds. And so you plant those seeds, and people start paying their bills, and you start getting paid month after month after month. And I can tell you firsthand that it's real. I know that Sean can tell you firsthand that it is real. You can make that kind of money. It may not be overnight. Matter of fact, it won't be overnight. But over time, if you're consistent and persistent and you never give up, it will come through for you. You just have to take action and continue to duplicate that process. So when you look at that $11,000 or whatever that number exactly is, pretty much everybody that I know, that would make a difference in their life. I can assure you, I've made really great money over the years, and I make good money now. But if somebody gave me an extra $11,000 month after month after month, that'd make a pretty significant impact in your life. I would challenge you to ask yourself if that'd make a difference in your life. But let's just say it was half of that. Would $5,500, would that make a difference in your life? Would half of that, would $2,750 make a difference in your life? I would challenge you to say that there's many people in this great America that we live in, and obviously over in Japan now as well, that even half of that, even if they had $1,000 a month or even maybe $500 a month that came in month after month after month, that would make a difference. There's some single moms out there. There's some small young families that if they had an extra $500 or $1,000 a month, they don't have to be millionaires, okay? Just a little bit could make a huge difference in their life. So what I would, really encourage you to do, we're not trying to convince anybody to do anything tonight. What we're trying to do is to present things to you. And Zig Ziglar was a mentor of mine, and Zig used to say that people don't change their mind. They make new decisions with new information. So I hope that tonight you've seen some new information, that you can make a new decision about what you're going to do with the rest of your life. Obviously, you've got your job. You've got things going on. You've got your family. This is something that you can do, full-time. You can do it part-time. You just can't do it no time. So if you get in and you commit 15, 20 minutes a day here and there until you get a little bit of income coming in to where you can dedicate a little bit more time to it, that's what I did. It took me about 3.5 or 4 years to get to the point where I could really dedicate some very significant and serious time to this opportunity. But I'll assure you this. You're only presented with a few opportunities that are true opportunities in your life. If you look back in your life and you really evaluate it, you'll probably say, you know what? I remember I was presented with maybe somebody told you to buy Microsoft shares, or maybe somebody told you to invest in Apple or something many years ago. There's a few things that you'll look back on in your life and you think, you know what, I wish I had. Tonight, you've got a unique opportunity for a minimal investment that you can jump into this business. It's almost no overhead on a monthly basis. And you can absolutely change your life. You can change the lives of other people, and you can make a significant impact. So what I would encourage you to do right now is get enrolled in the business, jump in, get with a person that showed you this opportunity, sign up right now, and get going. Become your first customer and take control of your financial future. The power truly is in your hand. Go out and get one more customer after that. You got 2 customers. If you're in the Texas market, you get your initial investment back. If you're in the other markets, you just get, one more customer for a total of 3. You get all your money back there, and you're back. Everything else is profit from that point forward. If for some reason it's a situation where, you're not 100% sure, get with one of the leaders. I'm happy to answer any questions, regardless of whose team you're on. We're all on Team Ambit. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions for you. I know that Sean will be happy to answer any questions for you, or anybody else out there in Ambit land would be happy to do it as well. And if for some reason it's just something that you just can't wrap your head around and it's not for you, at least consider being the customer of the person that showed this to you, because that can make a significant difference in helping them accomplish their goals. And from an opportunity standpoint, I was talking to Steve Thompson, number 3 income earner, and he's got this mantra of never quit. Never quit. Steve Thompson said the only 2 ways you don't make in this business is, number 1, if you don't get into it, and then number 2 is if you quit too soon. So with that being said, I really appreciate everyone's time. And remember, you can make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. So go out there and be ambitious.
Customer acquisition strategy, they will give you free energy for referring just 15 other customers. They will take the average of those 15 customers you referred's monthly bills and discount it from your monthly bill. So if your bill is $200 per month and their bills average $200 per month, you pay nothing. If your bill is $250 per month and theirs average $200 per month, you only pay $50 a month. In any event, you've got $200 per month or $2,400 a year worth of free energy. It's that simple.
If you're concerned about what this will cost you, no worries. The program is also free to participate in. There is no cost to switch your service. Nothing changes for you, the consumer. The service and maintenance on your power lines or pipes, transformers, meters, etc. continues to be performed by the old incumbent, who still owns the lines, the transformers, and infrastructure. They will still read the meters, and by the way, will still continue to get paid for servicing them. There is no change whatsoever for you, except of course the lower price you now pay all the way down to even free. Taking all this into consideration, why wouldn't you do this? No logical reason, right? The only thing you might say is, well, I can't explain it, or I can't sell very well, or I don't have the time, right?
Well, you don't have to. All you have to do is send your friends to see this video, which explains it for you, just like I'm explaining it to you, right? And when they sign up as an Ambit customer, you get credit for them. Once you've got 15 referrals signed up and they start paying their bill, you start getting free energy. It's as simple as that. In the meantime, you'll still receive the benefit of extremely competitive rates.
So let me ask you a question. Is there a better price than free?
You're right. There isn't. So sign up with Ambit as an energy customer and start referring your friends today. And soon you too will start enjoying free energy.
After all, it is the smart choice to make.
To get started now and begin writing your own story